This conference will now be recorded.
So you see on this chart, there are 4 types. We'll be working with the first 2 types today, prepaid expenses and unearned revenue. Then we'll discuss types 3 and 4 on Thursday. Finish up anything from 1 and 2. And then probably next Tuesday, we will be on the presentation of the journal entries for 3 and 4, though we may get to some of those on Thursday. So we're taking our time, spending a number of days. For midterm, you're responsible for just the top 2, prepaid expenses and unearned revenue. So in general, for midterm, you're just responsible. Now, we said adjusting entries were entries that we make at the end of the period, typically. They represent financial transactions that have occurred internally and they have not been recorded, but they need to be recorded so that, first of all expenses have been recognized and all revenues have been recognized in the appropriate period. So if we've earned revenue and we have expenses, then those expenses need to be recorded. We talked about the fact that supplies, fixed assets, insurance are all prepaid expenses. They're assets, but they get utilized and they end up on the income statement when we make our adjusting entries. So assets are nice, but the bottom line, a company has to generate more cash through earnings. So these prepaid expenses are nice, but they're going to get charged to the income statement and against revenue, and so revenue has to be generated. With a prepaid expense, before the adjustment is made, assets are overstated, expenses are understated. The entry is always a debit to the expense account that's involved and a credit to the asset account, or if it's a long-term asset, we're going to credit contra assets. And there's a companion preceding entry where you bought the asset, the prepaid expense or asset, you bought it. There's a preceding entry. Are there any questions about adjusting entries, prepaid expenses? And you will see that I've got this special little chart, and I'll make sure I get it sent to you all if I haven't, where I sort of list the accounts that involve in AJE1, supplies, auto and accumulated depreciation, equipment and depreciation. That's on the asset side, remembering that when we have a adjusting entry, there's always one on the asset side of an account, there's another account on the expense side. And so we see what AJE1, depreciation expense. We see AJE1 supplies expense and AJE1 insurance expense. So I'm listing now just for you the accounts that are going to be involved in the adjusting entry 1. Supplies, prepaid insurance, mainly accumulated depreciation on the auto, accumulated depreciation on the equipment. That's the key count involved. Then on the income statement side, depreciation, insurance expense, supplies expense. Are there any questions in terms of the accounts or journal entry, always having two accounts, a debit and a credit, that are equal? We're going to start off today with what I think is the easiest adjusting entry, which is unearned revenues. Unearned revenues occur because we have received cash in advance, but we haven't done the work. And we said this is what a type what. There's a preceding entry, which is a type what. Type 4, where we debit cash and we credit unearned revenue. So maybe I'll just go ahead and put that in. There's a preceding entry where cash was debited and the credit was the unearned revenue. Unearned, say whatever, but it's unearned revenue. Unearned revenue. So this has to occur first. And once the unearned revenue, once this entry is made at the end of the year, then we make this entry debiting that unearned revenue and crediting revenue. It won't show up on the income statement until this entry is made. And you see on the chart of accounts, for AGE type 2, here's the unearned revenue account, 305. Then here's the sales account, which is 500. So we're moving it from being a liability to revenue. Are there any questions? Okay, so there are no questions. So let's see where we are. We want to go to unearned revenue. And I think I sent this to you in this format, correct?
Yes.
But I don't think we got the updated version yet. Because you say you added some.
Well, the updated version, I added something. Well, we'll go through it and we'll see. Okay, so what I did here was to, just put some journal entries in, so we'd have the journal entries here. So let's go to 22, journal entry 22. On deck is Jalen Hall of the blue team. Jalen Hall of the blue team. Jalen, are you ready? Going once, going twice. Okay. So we'll put this -1 in here. Mighty quiet. Just put a -1 up here. The blue team don't say nothing. Does anybody on the blue team want to help out a little bit? Move that to a -0.5. All right, well, I'm not going to work
I'll
for
do
you.
it.
Okay, so Kiana says she's going to do it.
Mhm.
Start talking.
Okay, sorry. So first it would be, the first entry would be,
You got to read it to us and tell us about it.
read it. Sorry. Okay, says assume JHA GameStop in 2017 receives from 1,000 customers $50 for NBA 2K18. At December 31st, 900 customers have picked up their games. Do you need the required part or no?
Yes.
Required, record the entry to record the receipt of the $50 from 1,000 customers, then make the adjusting entry to record the delivery of 900 games to customers.
Okay.
Okay, so first, for the first entry, you're going to debit cash for $50,000, and then you're going to credit unearned income for $50,000, and that's a type 4.
Okay.
And
So we're
then
gonna do
the
50,000.
adjust, sorry,
Take our time now.
I go.
You're interviewing to be a volunteer tutor in the future, so you can't just run through it. They got to.
Sorry.
Are there any questions?
Okay. Do you want me to explain then?
Well, go ahead.
Okay. So you get the 50,000, 1,000 customers for $50 each. So multiply those. That's 50,000. And then since they haven't received the game, that's why it's unearned income. So yeah, that's kind of the first one. And then for the adjusting entry, that's made once not only 900 people pick it up. So the adjusting entry, you would debit unearned income for 45,000. So 900 times 50. And then you'd credit sales for 45,000 as well. And the type 20 for the second one for the adjusting entry.
So that's a type 20 on our latest one.
Yeah, but I still have the old transaction types, not the updated one. So I don't know if it's different. Is that correct?
The transaction types are not as important, but let me just see if I can pull those up. There's actually 21 now. So somebody did say I needed to send something. So this is what I need to send to. So I need you to send the updated transaction types. So this is a 21. So are there any questions? Can everybody handle one of those now? Let's see. 25. So she's earned back half of that missing. See, 23, Mackenzie Jenkins.
Okay. Assume JHJ GameStop in 2017 receives
from 2,000 customers $50 for NBA 2K18. At December 31st, 1,500 customers have picked up their games. Required. Record the entry to record the receipt of the $50 from 2,000 customers. Then make the adjusted entry to record the delivery of 1,500 games to customers.
So what do we have here,
So
Mackenzie?
for the first entry, you would debit cash for $100,000.
How'd you get 100,000?
I multiplied 50 by the 2,000 customers that paid for the game.
It's 100,000.
Then for unearned income, I will credit 100,000 since they haven't received the game.
So let's stop right here where we are. You got 100,000 in the bank. You're running a GameStop show. And so you've got $100,000 in the bank. So what happens now, next?
For the adjusted entry, you debit unearned income 75,000 because only 1,500 games were delivered to customers.
Okay. So everybody didn't pick up the games. 75% of the people did. So, right, just make this 75. Any questions?
Yes. How did she get 75,000 again?
Tell them how you got 75,000, Mackenzie.
I got 75,000 because only 1,500 games were delivered out of the 2,000. So, and each game costed $50. So that means you only earning 75,000 for the games that were delivered.
That is, she multiplied 1,500 times 50. Any other questions? Can everybody handle it now? Mackenzie, can you handle this on the test?
Yes, sir.
Okay. That's what we're trying to do. So hopefully you're seeing why I made the assignments. If you got something assigned to you, you're gonna put that time and effort in. And in putting that time and effort in, so we got a +1 here, okay. And we have somebody for 25. It's Alexia Kizzy.
You skipped 24.
Oh, did I skip 24? Who has 24? I'm not
Me.
here, Joseph. Okay, go ahead. Tell us about 24.
Okay. It says assume JHJ GameStop in 2017 receives 1,500 customers for $50 for NBA 2K18. At December 31st, 1,200 customers have picked up their games. Record the entry to record the receipt of the $50 from 1,500 customers, then make the adjusting entry to record the delivery of 1,200 games to customers. So for the first part, I debited cash for 75,000, which is 1,500 times 50, and I credited unearned income for 75,000 as well. And I did type 4, and the adjustment part would come from the 1,200 customers being delivered. and that changed it to 60,000 debited for unearned income, and then 60,000 credited for sales. And it's a type 20, I think.
21 now. I'll send that updated.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So see, we've done it 3 times now. We have done it 3 times. Did it on 22, 23, 24. That's 3 times. So everybody should know how to make these journal entries. Now, on a problem, you'd have the first part would be one transaction when you got the cash. So this would be a transaction by itself. And then in a separate numbered transaction, it would state, okay, so many customers picked up the games. So we just have it all together here to show it. But when you see it, you'll see it 2 times. One, the receipt of the earner, type 4. Then it'd be another number that talks about how much of it was earned at 21 now. Any questions? Okay. So is that everybody for the blue team? Let's see, that was. Okay, so like I said, this is the easiest one. So we've done all 3. You should have all 3 of those. This is the easiest one. Okay. Let's see if we can get back up here. To some supplies. So the first one we talked about last time was supplies. There's going to be a preceding entry to purchase the supplies. And then there'll be an adjusting entry that's made at the end of the year when we see how much in supplies are utilized. So let's go to the first one. Nicole, are you there and ready?
I'm here.
Okay, go ahead.
The first one says JHJ Rental Car Company in 2017 purchased supplies on account costing $25,000. At the end of the year, supplies on hand totaled $5,000. Record the journal entry to acquire supplies and the adjusting entry required at year end. I put debiting supplies for $25,000, and then I put crediting $25,000 for cash, and that's a type 7.
Wait a minute now. On account. Did you purchase those supplies on account?
So would it be account receivable or account payable?
Team, y'all better help her out a little bit. Well, she did say account payable. What's our type?
It's account payable, type 12.
Miriam, she was talking. Miriam trying to make sure don't get any minuses up here. All right, so it's type 12. All right, Nicole, they depending on you now.
And then for
the adjusting entry year in, can you make that adjusting entry?
for the adjusting entry, I put supplies expense for $5,000 and then credit supplies for $5,000. And then I put type 13.
That's a done. What should it be? Tell me what it should be since you were talking before. Pick up a half a point here.
I thought it,
Anybody team.
I thought it was a type 13.
All right, Miriam, 13. But what's the amount? Justin,
Wait, is it type 19 since it's using the account?
let me get the type straight first. Let's see. So it's actually a 13, utilization of the asset with a transfer to the expense adjusting entry. So the type is 13. Yeah, that's 13 right there already. Already had a 13 there, y'all running elsewhere. What is my amount?
Is it 20 bands?
Is what?
20,000?
Sounds good to me. Who's that, Corey S?
Yes, sir.
Do I need to put you on this team, Corey?
Nah, I was just helping them out a little bit.
Well, they supposed to be helping them out, so you're taking their points. Corey has stolen a point from this team for the red team. That's the way things going in the world. So man, this is it's just 1 minus 1. Okay. So at this point, we said this should be 20,000. So we debit supplies expense and credit supplies. See, we got some T accounts down here. Supplies. Supplies expense. Okay, when we record this first entry, we have in the supplies account 25,000. Okay. So we aren't worried about the credit to whatever, just that amount. Now, let me do one thing here. I'll put the 25,000 here. So this is 2017, I believe. Okay, so then we make the adjusting entry When we post that, what's that posting gonna look like? What's the posting? Can y'all post the entry? Yellow team, can y'all post the entry?
The T count supplies will be 25,000. Accounts payable will be credited 25,000. The supplies expense would be 20,000, and then supplies would be 20,000. Supplies being debited for the AJE, and then just regular supplies being credited for just the AJE as well.
Okay, so that's that AJE. So we're almost ready to move to (2018), but now, so if we put our balances in, how much is in the supplies account now after this AJE?
5,000.
Okay, so 5,000 is in the account. Then we have this 20,000 here, but what do we know is gonna happen with this 20,000 as we get ready to go to 2018? So we're almost ready to go to 2018. So when we get ready to go to 2018, the 5,000 that was in 2017 is going to be a beginning balance in 2018, okay? Right? So it's the balance here. So what's in your checkbook on December 31st of this year will be there on January 1st also. Now what's going to happen over here with the supplies expense? Is it going to carry over to 2018?
No, because it canceled out when we credited supplies, didn't it?
For what? Closing.
For that 2017 year. The
For the
closing entry.
So we would have closed supplies out. So the supplies now is gone. It's been folded ultimately into the retained earnings account. So when we get ready to go to 2018, the 5,000 is going to come on down to the next year, but we'll be ready to start again with the supplies expense because we used it, we closed it out, now we're ready again. So let's see if we're ready for that. Okay, so that's number 2. Zanab, tell us about number 2, Zanab.
All right. It says in 2018, JHJ Rental Car Company purchased supplies paying cash in the amount of $15,000 and purchased an additional $20,000 in supplies on accounts. Record the entries to purchase supplies. Also record the adjusting entries required at year end in 2018. If supplies on hand totaled $10,000, your adjusting entry should reflect the fact that beginning supplies for 2018 were $5,000.
So what are we gonna do?
So I did debit supplies for $35,000.
Well, let's keep it separate. We bought cash amount of what? 15,000, right?
Yes,
Debit supplies, credit cash for 15,000. And then
right.
what did we do?
And then accounts payable for 20,000. Um,
What type of entry is the first one?
um, is type 7,
What type is the second one?
12.
Okay. So we now need to go down here and put 15,000 and 20,000 in this account. 15,000, 20,000. So at this point in the account is how much?
Is 35,000.
What's 5 plus 15 plus 20?
Oh, it's 40.
Okay, so your balance in the account is now 40,000. So that's the balance before the AJE. Now we're ready for an AJE for 2018. This is a NAB gone. Save the day. Bring the yellow team through.
Okay, so for the supplies expenses, I bought $30,000.
30,000. How'd you get 30,000? They want to know.
Um, so for the supplies, I got $5,000 plus 35 minus $10,000. That's how I got
So
the
you
30.
think the balance in this account is supposed to be what, 10,000? So what amount for the AJE is necessary to make it 10,000? 40 is in the account on the books, but the actual balance when we do the inventory is 10. So 40 minus 10 is what? 30,000. So we said this is a type 13, didn't we?
Yes, it's type 13.
So when we do our posting, let's post this entry.
Okay. So for the supplies expenses, were debited $30,000.
And what you gonna credit?
Supplies for $30,000. And it's AGA.
That's the AJE. But it's just a journal entry with a debit and a credit. It has to be posted. So now it makes this balance. Are there any questions? It's a nap, so I'm gonna help save the day. Since that one was kind of hard, we'll put a 1.5 here. It's a little hard. So now you better be talking to save the day for this team when needed. Are there any questions? Let's see how y'all looking here. So if I have a quiz at the start of the period on next class period, will y'all be able to do an unearned income and a supplies?
Mr. Boyd, I have a question.
Yes.
When are we going to go back to in person?
I guess we'll have to talk to the class and see. But if the desire is to go back in person, probably after midterm. So we'll talk about it. We'll see what the consensus is of the class. But so we'll get the consensus, but it is a face-to-face class, so I'll get a sense of it. But are people ready to go back to class in general? We'll talk about that in the class period. Okay.
I just got an idea. If we do go back in the classroom, I feel like we should go ahead like do every other week, like a check-in. If we don't go that week, it's an every other week thing. If
What?
that we can go ahead. Do
I think we in class. No, but I wouldn't be able to keep track of that. And everybody else would think.
I mean, it'd be I guess, yeah. I'd be like 1 week online, then the next week, check in, or the first of the month, like a check in day. Because some of my classes they got like we go on campus on check in day just to make sure everybody okay, and then after that we'll be back online. It just depends, or they'll say it on Blackboard,
Well, okay. Well,
yeah.
what I will say is that the country is moving to the fact that we're just going to accept COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So there are going to be jobs where people are going to work virtual and other people are not, and you have to kind of determine the type of job you want. Take, for instance, finance. 90% of the work in finance, probably 80% in MIS, can be done virtually. And so what's going to happen, I don't care what the politicians are saying, those companies are going to work virtual. So you got to be flexible and learn to work virtual and not virtual. But for the companies themselves, they can't take the risk. Okay, they can't be operating banks, computer companies, and some people get sick. Take, for instance, Southwest Airlines, and they cancel all the flights, all of those flights. Well, if some key workers at Southwest get COVID, they cannot bring anybody in to replace them. Okay, they're FAA guidelines on who can work at the airport. So if the workers get COVID, they can't replace them. So they weren't saying, but that's why the flights were canceled. If those a bunch of workers that are working, they get sick, they can be baggage handlers or whatever, then they can't operate. And so even with the governor with his mandate out there, you can't do this, you can't do that. Well, in areas where employment is restricted, such as an airport, they won't be able to operate. So the part of it, you might want to learn how to work virtually. Okay, you might want to learn how to work virtually. Because you don't know what your company's going to do. But take, for instance, in banking, and we have a banking program. The people in the bank are going to be like service people. Okay, you want a loan, they take the information. They're going to send it to somebody who's working at home to analyze it and send the answer back. So the technical job is being done at home. The person in the bank feed the people with the germs and everything else, just doing customer service work almost. So just realize that kind of thing is happening. So we want to do in the class what's best for you on the pass. That's the bottom line. We want to operate with what's best to pass. Now, if we go back, right now we're doing everything virtually for what you do, what you turn in. And so the big thing that you're getting, adjustment that I've made, is that we're using Excel and you're doing it virtually. Okay. Learning how to use Excel is going to be a must, especially for accounting and finance major, but for everyone, and just working virtually. So even though we may want to go back, companies are not going to train people in big meeting rooms like they used to do. You're going to be trained virtually. Okay, so just kind of keep that in mind. In a virtual situation, you got to pay attention. You got to have your camera on and pay attention and act like you are in the classroom. That's what you got to do, and you'll do okay. And so you need to practice doing that now. You need to practice having your camera on so you can operate that way. But my son-in-law works with BMC Software, and he's sort of a troubleshooting software engineer, where if something goes wrong with a system, he has to, he works with a team of people to fix it. The computer system goes down. It can't be, for a bank or somebody like that, those systems can't go down. And, I got a team of 20 people or so in the area he's working in. And they're always working 14, 15 hours a day. If you think BMC Software is going to put those people in that office on Beltway 8 and let somebody get sick, and they can't do their job and they came out, they're not going to do that. So he has them work at home. There's an office over his garage with 2 big computers, but they cannot afford, so you can't afford for very skilled workers to get sick because they can't be replaced. Yeah. So there are a lot of jobs where people just can't come in and be replaced. So in those situations, the companies are mandating that they work at home. Okay, they haven't thought about going into the office. And the earliest they're looking at is January 1st. Because they got skilled workers, they can't replace them. They cannot afford for them to get sick. So that's the environment that you're in. You can't look at jobs working for the turkey hut in places like that as to what's happening with the jobs that you're being prepared for. Okay. But adjusting interest, can y'all work an adjusting entry out now go back to the question. Mary said she could. Can anybody else work one out? Zanab, can you work one?
I can try.
You can try. Okay. Why is this difficult then? So we've been doing journal entries since day one. Why are these journal entries difficult? I mean, let me know. So why are they kind of difficult? Well, let's work another one then. Oh, mighty quiet.
Dr. Board, can we try mine?
Okay, who was that?
Justin.
Okay. Which one you got, Justin?
Number 4.
So we got to do 3 first. So, got somebody. Anaya, are you here? Anaya Clemens? All right, so let's try another one. So Anaya's not here. So what we'll need to do, Justin, is to work 3, then 4, because 3 is 2017, 4 is 2018. So all we got to do is take all of these numbers out, cut them out.
Yeah.
Then we have to take all of these out.
Hey, Dr. Boyd.
Yes.
Aaron Winger, Justin, and we have to leave class a little early because we have a off-campus baseball scrimmage that we're about to leave for. So we wanted to let you know that, or not ahead of time, but right now that we got to leave class early because our bus leaves at 12:15 and we have to drive down there on campus to get there.
Okay. I understand. I've been getting these letters. But you know, like I say, try to keep up with your work. You got your cell phone, so your laptop, so you hopefully in progress. Just try to stay with us. Okay.
Yes, sir. Okay. Is there anything we need to prepare for next class or for Thursday? So we're ready.
Well, I might just do a practice quiz, so on supplies and unearned income. We may do a practice quiz on that.
Okay. And then as far as the presentation things going on right now, we won't have points taken off of that since we have to leave, right?
Nope, you won't have points taken off. Nope.
Okay. Well, thank you, sir. You have a good day.
All right, you too. Okay, go ahead, Justin. Let's look at number 3 first. Have you looked at number 3?
I have to leave here in a couple minutes. That's why I was just trying to see if I could go over mine real quick to make sure I understand.
Go ahead. Go ahead, then. Go ahead to 4. But it's 2018. We'll come back to it.
Sorry, what was that?
We'll come back to see if you have to. They purchase supplies for $15,000. And then 5,000 was on hand. So the adjusting entry had to be $10,000 because 5,000 was left. So if you're still there, when we get to your year, it says 5,000 is on hand at start of the year. So what do you have? Okay, he may have had to go. So let's take our time then on the first one. Purchase supplies costing $15,000. At the end of the year, the supplies on hand are $5,000. So when we bought them, we debit supplies 15, credit accounts payable 15. So in the supplies account is $15,000. Now, at the end of the year, it says it's 5,000. So if 5,000 is what's in the account that's going to carry forward to 2018, then that difference is always the difference. I had 15,000 in there. I got 5 left. I must have used 10. So it's always the difference. Is everybody clear on that? It's always the difference. So we do that, then we would make that AJ in here for 10,000. Here's the AJE. And we're going to debit supplies expense for 10,000. And it's already just closing out since the 10,000 would come out in the closing entry. 5,000 is going forward. Now, in the second year, a similar thing, we purchased an additional 10,000 supplies on account. So in this one, in 2018, they make the entry, debiting supplies 10,000, crediting accounts payable 10,000. Okay, let's post it. So we put the 10,000 down here now. What's our preliminary balance in the account before the adjusting entry? It's 15,000. We're told that the ending balance is how much?
$4,000.
4.
So what we're gonna do with that 4,000, Miriam?
Subtract it from the 15,000 and see what the balance is.
So how much would that be?
9,000. Oh wait, JK, 11,000. 11,000.
11,000 might be better. So the AJE, we're gonna credit supplies for 11,000. And we're going to debit the supplies expense. So hopefully you see
Mr.
why we're
Boyd,
making entries now.
shouldn't it be
Business-
16,000 because you had an extra 5,000 to start in 2018?
Correct. So what were you saying now?
So for your 2018 supplies account, there should be an additional 5,000 because that was remaining when you went from 2017 to 2018.
Let's see.
How about for 2017 adjusted journal entry?
I missed that.
5,000 still on hand.
I left that out. We did pay cash of 5,000 too. So we had two purchases.
Mhm.
I was just kind of reading fast and Justin left. So there is another 5,000 in here. That's correct. And so this would be 20,000. So what's our adjusting amount going to be now?
16,000.
Okay, 16,000. Okay, so this would be 16. So once again, these are transactions. You have these preceding entries, then the AJE, preceding entries, regular journal entries, then the AJE. So you can't have an AJE unless you have these preceding entries, of course. So how are we coming at this point?
Pretty cool.
So we will do a little practice on supplies and earn income. Just gotta, like anything else, we just gotta get in there and work with it. And then we'll see. These are not hard journal entries, but you're not told what the amounts are. And so that makes it a little different. Let's begin to look at some other prepaid expenses.
Mr. Boyd, I have a question.
Yes.
Okay, so Joy already let us know that, she's not able to help us on this because this isn't, her thing. So will you, besides class, outside of class, will you be offering help on the adjusting journal entries?
Yes.
Okay, and when is that when are your available times?
What is the best time? I guess Wednesday. How does 3 o'clock sound?
I can't do Wednesday 3 o'clock because I have work as well besides school.
Okay, so
I can do anytime Friday.
When?
Anytime Fridays. I don't work Fridays.
Okay, Friday is fine, but now I'm concerned about Wednesday and working with people on Wednesday. Or we can start have office hours before class. So we can begin the class with office hours at 10:30. My preference, so I'll just go and say that we'll have a standard now I'll come on at 10:30 each day so that you'll have that extra time before. But I also would like to work with you on a Wednesday if possible. And it can be later in the day on Wednesday too. It can be 5 or 6 o'clock. So just think about it and let me know. But we definitely want to make sure we got that time in. And so then we can look at, Fridays. And so Kennedy, you're saying you work when?
Well, for this week, I work the Wednesday that you're saying, but Thursday is fine as well. I don't work Thursday of this week, but I wouldn't be able to do it later on Wednesday because I work night shifts.
Okay. Well, that was just for other people, Maybe you're the only one need help, Kennedy. Everybody else may be.
Yeah, maybe so. I mean, you only hear my mouth about, needing help. So, hey.
But we'll work with you then. And if someone else, you can always email me for a time. But how does the 10:30 sound?
That's fine.
That sounds good.
That's just preliminarily now, just a 10:30.
Are you going to start doing that Thursday?
Yes, this Thursday. Yeah. Like I said, I wouldn't mind even starting tomorrow if people are available. Nobody's indicated that, but yes, we'll work. We'll probably do that all the way through midterm. I'll be on at 10:30, 10 o'clock if I have to. It depends on what you want. We also have the time. So what now? Just think about it. Just let me.
Yeah, I'm gonna join.
Okay, so what time for you, Noble?
Whichever time you said, 10:30. That the time you said was perfect.
Okay.
That's a good time.
So that's better than after class?
Yeah, whichever one that everybody else want to go with, I can go with myself.
I'm just asking now. So,
Oh,
but Miriam
I
says,
have another class after this class.
okay. So I'll try to be on between, let's just say around 10:15. So I'll just sort of split it between that. And that gives people time to come on. My afternoon class had a lot of issues with that finance quiz. I've had to spend a lot of time working with them. You all did well. I haven't gotten to y'all's quizzes yet. I'll be working on those. But when there's an issue with the quiz, anything you want me to go over it, that's also, available. We want to do that too, because you're going to have to pull through that in terms of the midterm. So then I got to work on your study problems. But I will be available, and of course, virtually as well as you can email me and work with me. But virtually, open the classroom is up better because I can talk to a bunch of people at the same, not a bunch, but some people at the same time. And it's easier way to do it than for me to have to be emailing back and forth to 10 people. So meeting with, a group at a study time is better. And I put you in these groups also so that you all could sort of work together in your groups too and talk also. Okay, so, consider that also, you can have your own Zoom for your group. So you can have a free meeting, your team meets and you all discuss and everything. They let you meet for half an hour to an hour free. So consider that also. Then I'll just have to see, maybe I have to draft Miriam and Kiana to help with tutoring, help people out. I was trying to wait till next semester, but I may have to draft them earlier. I gotta get one of these moans to switch to accounting. Which one is that gonna be? Which one is going to switch to accounting? When you're good at something like accounting, that's a rarity. So think about that. We'll talk about that at some point. I'm debating whether I should start on anything else. Let's tell 14. I won't start on anything else. We'll begin with prepaid insurance and fixed assets next time. So we'll start off, especially in the review session, we're going to look at unearned income and prepaid, unearned income and supplies. Then I'll move to look at prepaid insurance and fixed assets and depreciation. Then we work on those problems in class. So you'll have, we'll be working on those. And we may just take some time in the class to work on them. Then we'll move to those toward the end of class. Next time we'll discuss the final two types of adjusting entries. And we'll just see where we get. So I don't quite have a sense, and you all are just so quiet. So when people quiet, sometimes that's not the best thing. So we'll look at it and see. I just have to say how you all are coming. But if you can do financial statements and closing entries, you can do adjusting entries too. Okay. Okay, so roughly 10:15 on Thursday, I'll be on. If you need a different time, just email me to let me know, or let me know on Thursday. And any preliminary thoughts in terms of going back to campus?
Personally, I feel like I do better when we're in person, but I do understand the whole thing with learning to work online.
Anyone else?
I agree with what she said.
Okay.
I can talk to you after class, Mr. Board.
Yes. Okay. Okay, so we'll talk some more on that next time and see where we are on that. The probably won't be before midterm, because the midterm, it's going to be virtual anyway. It's going to be you doing the same thing. Then we'll look at it afterwards. Only the things that we're covering this week will be on the midterm. So just the first two types will be on the midterm. Anything we do next week will not be on the midterm, okay? So in terms of going back face-to-face, we since we'll be able to do that for the other parts of it. Okay, so you all have a pleasant adjusting entry study session, and we'll see you all at 10:15 on Thursday. Okay, all right.
Professor, for the next assignment that's due Thursday, do we need to do all of the questions, or just the questions for our
Yeah, Mr.
group?
Boy, I like
Just work on the ones for your group. We'll go over it, but just work on the ones for your group.
Okay, so we should do all of the question for our group.
Correct. And it'll be good.
All right. And when is gonna be the midterm? Sorry,
I think the term is we got I think it's next week.
Yes.
We'll talk about that on Thursday.
All right. Thank you.
Mr. King.
Oh, Mr. Boyd. Yes, I've sent you after last class. I sent you my emails, but you didn't get back to me.
Okay. Now I've been busy grading. So I'll look at that. I see you don't have a journal entry, AJE. That's one thing, correct?
Yes, I do not have one.
Okay, so I'll look at your email after class, and then I'll get back with you. Is there anything that you will indicate now in the email?
Yes, I was asking, I was asking about why I didn't have an entry in about my assignments.
I didn't have a financial quiz on you. Did you take that quiz?
No, I couldn't find the file, and I was trying to ask about that.
So that's the reason why, that because you didn't have a quiz. So that's the reason for that. I will work on getting one for you, but I need to look at them first. Okay?
Okay. Yeah, like it's no problem. It's just when I clicked on it, I couldn't find the file, and I've been trying to get, trying to contact you about everything,
Normally, let me just check in here for a second.
And also, you do put our lectures on YouTube, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Correct. So yeah. So we always have a reference.
Yeah, that reminds me.
Is it two different classes that you have on there though?
Yes, 2 classes.
Okay. But you upload ours on